2019 English edition is now in session. Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir.
Right. Good afternoon again. The standard this year was exceptionally high. The three teams made this extremely difficult for us. And what I will say is, first of all, that there can never be any shame in being an Olympic finalist. That's the starting point. And there can never be any shame if you got a gold, a silver, or even a bronze. I have to say, the standard has been exceptionally high. This has been my 5th year in which I have been judging these moots, and it was extraordinary. Now, according to the rules of the ICC moot competition, deliberations were made to assess each of the teams participating based on the following criteria: knowledge of facts and legal principles, the ability to articulate analysis of the issues, use of the authorities and citation, your ingenuity and clarity, persuasiveness, logic and reasoning, and your presentation. So before we come to what really would be the highlight, usually we would give some comments to the judges. I've been doing this many times, so I'll just say a few words, but I'm going to allow my colleague, Simon De Smit, to give you some of his comments. I will just simply say that the standard was exceptionally high. There were a few things that you, in any case, always to make yourself better as a practitioner, you should always look to see how you can do what you do better. Having said that, I cannot underscore how exceptionally good you all were. I will simply say in my general comments before I hand over to Simon that you were good, your eye contact was good, you were able to engage. Some of you, better than others, when you were thrown questions, you were able to land on your feet, which is important. But I will just leave it at that, and I will let Simon take over from here.
Thank you, Judge. Before I make a few very detailed points, I just want to echo first that I've also done this a couple of years, and this was really impressive, all of you. And so I hope you will all consider interning with us later. And also I want to preface what I'm going to say with the following caveat, that to some extent what I'm going to say is a matter of taste, right? Judges want and expect different things, so don't take what I say for the holy truth. So the first and most general point I would make is, as a counsel, especially in cases of this nature where you spend years in court together, you want to establish some sort of normality with your bench, because you're gonna be spending literally weeks and weeks and weeks together. So you want to be as counsel as ease as possible, as relaxed as possible, as clear and calm as you would normally have a conversation about an issue of this nature. I understand when you're making this kind of timed submissions, you have to have some structure, and you will have memorized a certain structure and so forth. But try to always be yourself as much as you can, right? And a particular point in this regard is, sometimes we could notice quite clearly when someone was speaking from some notes they had memorized or they had before them, and when they were actually talking spontaneously. Now, if that contrast is too stark, that may create some sort of suspicion, right? When is the person really speaking from, from what they really believe, and when are they just following instructions, so to speak? So try to be yourself always, also when you're speaking from prepared notes, right? I'm not looking at anyone in particular. Sorry, I keep looking at you, but that's not because I accuse you of that. Second, sometimes you will be faced in a situation, and I think you all had that to some extent, that there is just law against you. Now, conceding points against is very tricky. You don't want to seem stubborn or obtuse, but you also don't want to concede too easily. So if you're going to concede a point, make sure you have at least an argument, even if you know it's weak, why it's not such a big deal that you had to concede it, right? Because I think on a number of occasions, teams conceded something that was quite bad to their case and then just left it at that, right? That's not something you want to do as an advocate. Then, maybe one last point, and then I'll leave it at that. Now, the first issue on the agenda was an issue on which the presiding judge has written a separate opinion. I think only one team mentioned that, right? And you all just kept on referring to the majority, which is fair enough, because that is the majority, that is the leading law, but it's always good to at least acknowledge that you know the opinion of the judge on the bench, and say why you may or may not agree, and why this may or may not be distinguished on the facts. And then finally, I would urge, but this is perhaps most of all a matter of taste, try to avoid overly colorful or emotional language. Because you are not arguing in front of a jury, so rhetoric will only get you so far, right? Try to be as clean and as precise and as matter-of-factly as you can, because that will usually get you the farthest. So with this, I hope this is somewhat useful for you when you come and intern for us. Thank you.
As I said, this has been an exceptionally high standard, and I can now tell you that this has actually been unprecedented. So my first of these moots was in 2014, and I've been doing them consistently, and as we do in all of them, we go through each team, award points, and the points are awarded on a set basis, first by organization, structure, and analysis of the issues, 20 points. Use of facts and legal principles, 20 points. Use of authorities and citation, 20 points. Persuasiveness, ingenuity, logic, and reasoning, 20 points. And presentation, 20 points. So in a transparent way, in the deliberations room, we award points, and then in a separate sheet, we then take those figures and tabulate them, and then we total them. And for the first time in my time here, we have a tie. And it would be unfair to contrive a split. So there'll be a slight departure from the usual script, and there will be no second runner-up, but there'll be a tie for the second place. And what would have to happen would be that both teams would have to step forward, who are awarded the second place, and accept the prize and have your photographs taken. The two teams that were tied for second, both tied with 82 out of 100. And those two teams, and of course you will work it out, of course you'll deduce by elimination. The two teams that tied for second place, sorry, for first place, are the OTP. I beg your pardon. Oh, sorry. Well, sorry, the first runner-up would be the OTP and the defense. You both are exceptionally good, and please step forward for your photographs. So you both have to go on.
With you, huh?
No, no, I go for the last one. Yeah. I did speak with the organizers before you. Apparently, you'll both have your photographs taken, and arrangements will be made, I think, for a prize to be sent, a duplicate to be sent. So, but you have to have your moment now. Both come forward. As I said, this really is, it's the first time that it has happened, and we have checked, and this is, the standard was exceptionally high. And of course, there's only room for one at the first place. And by elimination, we can, of course, deduce that the winner of the 2019 edition of the ICC Moot Competition, English edition, is the Council for the State. So the state had won with the points with 87 points. The last task that we had was to determine who was the overall just a moment. Yes, the best speaker for the moot 2019 edition, and the best speaker was from the speaker who represented the state as well. So please step forward. Right. As I said when I first came in, there's no shame in being an Olympic finalist or no shame in being a finalist in the 2019 edition of the ICC Moot. Your standard was exceptional. As Simon said, I mean, you are more than worthy of being, in due course, really skilled practitioners, so that those of you who do wish to pursue a career in international criminal justice, criminal law, you have a head start. Well done. Congratulations to each and every one of you. So having said that, that brings to an end this moot. I think the only thing that remains for me to say is I think that there's some refreshments after for you to celebrate in the public gallery. So congratulations again, well done, and court will rise.
All rise, veuillez vous lever.